where we're going to get an update on the situation where an individual was found in an unresponsive state just east of the Swizzle Inn pub and restaurant early this morning. We're going to be hearing from Acting Detective Inspector Jason Smith of the Serious Crime Unit. Mr. Smith?
It is with sadness today that the Bermuda Police Services announces the death of Mr. Dwayne Gibbons, who was 57 years of age. Mr. Gibbons was found in an unresponsive state directly behind me at about 2:20 this morning, the 16th day of September 2021. The brief circumstances are that at about 2:20, police officers, or the police response 911 response unit, received a call from a member of the public who reported finding Mr. Gibbons in an unresponsive state on the road behind me. He was taken to the King Edward Memorial Hospital, where life-saving measures were taken, but unfortunately he succumbed to his injury. It is reported that Mr. Gibbons suffered a stab wound, which is the cause of his death. The Bermuda Police Service is aware that prior to the 911 call being received, there were several members of our community who were traveling along this road, North Shore Road, heading in both east and westerly directions that might have seen Mr. Gibbons. In particular, you might have seen Mr. Gibbons standing or leaning over the wall, which is just behind me. And we believe that he was there some minutes before he collapsed and unfortunately was unresponsive. Those members of our community who were traveling along the road, it is critical that you make contact with us and speak with us about what you had observed at the time that you were traveling. We know that Mr. Gibbons is from the Warwick area, and it is interesting that he has found himself in this location at this hour of the morning, and that, or how he came to be at this location, is vital to our investigation in helping us to piece together the pieces of the puzzle that we can fit. Mr. Gibbons leaves behind a sister and a mother who is grieving as a result of his loss. Mr. Gibbons' death is the third murder for the year, and one murder is too many for our country. And so today we are making this appeal for anyone who had or has information that came past this location, saw Mr. Gibbons, or who might have witnessed any suspicious activity that took place early this morning, anywhere between the hours of 2 and 2:20 a.m. We are appealing for you today to make contact with us so that we can solve this case.
Members of the media, if you have any questions for the Acting Detective Inspector.
Thank you, sir. Obviously it's just happened, so, but still, are you able to give us any indication of what the circumstances are believed to have preceded this, where the attack might have occurred, and anything of that nature?
What I can tell you is that Mr. Gibbons was found behind me. The circumstances are still being developed at this stage, and so therefore it is important that you make contact with us so that we can get that information and that we can channel our investigation, our lines of inquiry along those particular lines.
Again, and I don't mean to be tactless by asking, but are you able to tell us anything about the nature of the injuries he suffered, or where, if that is of any relevance?
What I can say is that Mr. Gibbons was stabbed. That's as far as we can get this.
Got you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, members of the media, thank you for joining us this afternoon. And again, if you have any information, members of the public, or if you have any information, of course, you're asked to call 800-8477, the independent and confidential Crime Stoppers number, or 211 the police reporting number, or the main police number, 2950011. Acting Inspector, do you have any information as to the officer who will be conducting this investigation?
Yes, this investigation is being headed up by Detective Sergeant Wendell Thorpe from our Serious Crime Unit. Mr. Thorpe can be reached at 717-0752, or you can contact myself at 717-0864.
Thank you very much. Members of the media, do have a good afternoon.